Episode 9 with Mr. Tay Sweetwood. Pats in the
And
playoffs.
Mr. Max Murphy.
How's it feeling? Pats in the playoffs.
Feels good. It feels good. We'll get to the situational stuff in a bit, but rookie QB, 10-win season, playoff berth, feels good. How are you feeling about the squad? Your squad?
Oh, we'll have to get to that later. First of all, I'm heated right now. I'm absolutely heated at what is the standards in today's NFL, and it frustrates talk shows like on ESPN or Fox Sports. My guy Pat McAfee and Colin Cowherd frustrates them, but that's not the reason. I've had this take about NFL coaches for a while. We'll get to that. First of all, want to shout out. We had 9 guys, I think, qualify for this $50 Amazon gift card.
Did?
And we spun the wheel, did it random. Mr. Ben Foster from North Dakota, my good friend, Dolphins fan.
Miami fan, right?
Miami fan.
Yep. Oh, geez.
He won it.
Well,
so congrats. We will get you that.
I lose to the Dolphins, and then I'm paying them after.
Then you have to pay up for the loss.
It hurts. Anyway, thank you everybody for entering. I think we'll do that again pretty soon.
Yeah. Hey,
so fun.
It's a chance for some nice cash, let's just say. So
absolutely.
The NFL head coaching shit. I wanted to, it made me mad because last episode, we were talking about, I think, the head coach race, and we were talking about head coaches, stuff like that. And I was telling myself in my head the whole time, I have to bring up Matt Nagy. I have to bring up Matt Nagy. I have to do it because I've had this take on Matt Nagy for so long, and it is the most unpopular take there is, but it is my deep opinion. And it's because I watch the personnel on the team. I'm a Vikings fan. I've been going against Matt Nagy the last 3-4 years. He is not the problem in Chicago. Think about this. Mitch Trubisky. Is Mitch Trubisky a good quarterback, Teddy? He's a good backup, right?
He's not a good quarterback. I don't think he would be the worst starting quarterback in the league, but his one good year, who was that under?
Let me just say this. He was under the Bears for 3 years, all 3 under Matt Nagy. They went to the playoffs twice. You talk about the defense. Yeah. The defense was good. Hey, what quarterbacks are in the NFL right now aren't good, or that are in the playoffs?
Without goodies?
No, I'm just saying
quarterbacks that aren't good.
I'm just saying a defense can't carry a quarterback all the way to the playoffs. You need a decent to good to great quarterback to be in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Look at Baker Mayfield. I'm telling you guys right now, you look at the Chicago Bears. Okay, so they traded a couple first-round picks for Khalil Mack. His first couple years, he was very productive because he wasn't only new to the Bears, but he was establishing himself as a pass rusher in the league. Now, the past 2 years, teams have figured out, hey, they have no other D linemen. Let's double Khalil Mack. So Khalil Mack is irrelevant every game. So let's double Khalil Mack. Let's have Akeem Hicks, who's old as shit. Let's have other 2 defensive linemen who I can't even name. Let's have the secondary who traded away. I mean,
I was going to say, what happened to Eddie Jackson?
He's on the Packers.
And he's doing well. I was thinking that's a name I haven't heard in a little while. And he was.
Or was that Adrian Amos? Anyways, you can't name a secondary player. You can't name. They have good linebackers. My point is the defense isn't what it used to be. Matt Nagy, who was considered an offensive wizard because he took Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs, just gets absolutely shit on by everyone, not only in the league, but the media. Just shits on Matt Nagy. And hey, yes, is his record great with the Bears? No. He's been with the Bears for 5 years. He's gone to the playoffs twice with Mitch Trubisky, like I mentioned. I think it's more of the Ryan Pace, where what are you doing when you have Andy Dalton and Nick Foles on the same team? They're the same goddamn player. Mm-hmm. And you have Mitch Trubisky. I'm a big Justin Fields fan. I love Justin Fields. I think the standards in the NFL, you have to look at the personnel. You look at the offense. Allen Robinson every year is so high on fantasy football, Allen Robinson is fucking worthless.
I
Especially
wouldn't call for some reason he doesn't look like this year. Like it didn't prosper for him this year. But the guy is talented, I have to say. But I don't know what's going on.
But name another player on that offense. First of all, the offensive line is like ranked 30th.
Well, fine. You know what? It's good for talk show. Let's debate it a little bit.
Okay, so there's my take on Matt Nagy. I'm not saying he's the guy for Chicago. I'm saying as a head coach job in the NFL, as an overall, the standards are way too high. Matt Nagy took Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs twice. Mitch Trubisky is not a good quarterback. That defense was good those 2 years, but you have to give it some time. Firing the head coach isn't always the answer. You go, Teddy.
All I will say on the Bears is this is kind of just playing devil's advocate to counter you a little bit. They have better offensive pieces than I would even say the Patriots, right? They have David Montgomery, that second back Khalil Herbert is really good. Darnell Mooney and Allen Robinson. Who's injured a lot? Robinson. Okay, he's injured a lot. Darnell Mooney's a good too.
I will say Darnell Mooney and Justin Fields will be a great dynamic duo. He's a great wide receiver. And
Dave Montgomery is really good. And they have Roquan Smith, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, they didn't even have a Pro Bowler this year.
He's good.
If you want to talk about personnel, let's talk about their production, like the Pro Bowlers they had this year. 0.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm not huge on Nagy. I understand what you're saying. And to that, I would say, which actually kind of takes us into another one of these coaching things, is Joe Judge staying. Yeah. I personally think, I mean, the guys had who at quarterback? Much worse situation than Matt Nagy by a million, which is why my father, who's a Giants fan, is somewhat, he's besides himself that they're keeping him. But I'm saying, give the guy a shot. I mean,
Thank you, Teddy.
What do you think Bill Belichick would do with Jake Fromm, Mike Glennon, Daniel Jones? Nothing.
What did Bill Belichick do before Brady? Like, he was on the Browns. He got fired. I'm saying you need a good quarterback. Like, you have to give it some time. You want to shit on Joe Judge all you want because of his record. Dude, he hasn't had anyone. Like, he hasn't.
And I'm not going to sit here and all out defend him because there are things he's done that hasn't looked great. But at the end of the day, the guy hasn't had a shot. Give him an average quarterback. He hasn't had an average quarterback yet. He hasn't had a Baker Mayfield.
And is that his fault or Dave Gettleman's fault that he doesn't have a good quarterback?
I think Dave Gettleman just retired. Do you see that?
Yes.
So I think that was a couple minutes ago from right before we are shooting this. So he had to go.
It really pushes all my freaking buttons.
If you look at the players the Giants have passed on, it's like Josh Allen, tons of guys.
But not only that, like, they have a good receiving core. I don't think they're as bad as the record.
It feels like they have a good receiving core. What the hell is going on? Well, quarterback, I guess.
Yeah, I know. Like Daniel Jones, when he got drafted number 7, I think, out Duke, we were like, all right, I don't know what the hell that was, but that's Dave Gettleman.
Well, it's funny because everybody's freaking out. Like, nobody wanted him.
And he actually he proved us kind of wrong the rookie year, and he's had like good receivers. It all comes down to coaching. And like, I like that they're keeping Joe Judge because you don't I think teams should, oh my God, can we move on is that it for Joe Judge? I want to move on to Brian Flores.
Let's talk about Flores.
I was on the plane this morning. I had a 6 a.m. flight from leaving 70-degree weather back to -3-degree weather in Bismarck. Had a good time golfing. I come back, I land, I turn off airplane mode, and it says Brian Flores fired. And I'm like, Teddy, we're having a fucking podcast today. Because the fact that Brian Flores, who went 10-6 last year, 9-8 this year, is fired is ridiculous.
Unreal. It's honestly unreal.
He was in the discussion for coach of the year because he went 1-7 and won 7 in a row and ended in a winning season.
Mm-hmm.
What are the standards in the NFL, Teddy? What are your standards? You have to go to the Super Bowl and you're not a good coach?
Somebody had a fun night, a much too fun night in Miami, I guess, and was making some brash decisions, possibly. Maybe even under the influence a little bit, because that was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen as a Patriots fan. I mean, how long has it been since the Dolphins have swept us? We don't play them well in Miami, but either way, they came in Foxborough week 1, beat us. We went there last week of the season, beat us again. They finished winning record 2 years in a row. I don't know the last time the Dolphins have done that. I don't know, like most teams don't.
Dan Marino, I'm pretty sure.
You're in the top half of the league if you go a 2-year period finishing. They showed today they had a better record over the last 2 years. They've had a better record than the Patriots, and it pains me to say that because obviously we had a blunder last year with Cam Newton, but they won 10 games last year. So,
what more do you want from a coach to have 2 winning seasons in a row? What more do you want?
I'll tell you what, no, that man will be hired this week. If he chooses, he could obviously, he'll have offers this week. He'll choose maybe to think about it, but he could have a job right now the second he decides to. And I'll tell you what, for the rest of the NFL, don't let Bill Belichick get him back and get us a real deep.
If you think about the teams in the last couple decades who have been a considered dysfunctional franchise, you put Miami up there. Mm-hmm. And he was turning that team around. And I heard something on Colin Cowherd, made up a great point. I'm honestly happy for him that he's out of that dysfunctional franchise, even though I would have loved to see what he could do with Tua. Because mainly,
I was going to say, give him someone better.
I was big on Tua coming out of college. So I want to see that relationship progress between Brian Flores and Tua. But what are the standards in the NFL? If you don't make the Super Bowl, you're a bad coach, right?
Maybe send him to the Bears.
Speaking of Bears, John Harbaugh. You hear about that?
What?
John Harbaugh came out and said, I'd love to be a Bears coach, essentially.
Really?
Yeah. So there were rumors going on that he was going to leave Michigan, come back to the NFL, and he's close with the...
Why, though? I mean, he just did... What? Is he just satisfied with, his college football playoff appearance, I guess? I'm not even saying that sinisterly. No. Is that you think that's...
I think, hey, if you're going to sign a 10-year contract, why don't live it out? Michigan, dude.
How much longer does he have left?
Great college football program.
How much longer does he have left?
I don't know. I think he just signed it though.
Harbaugh?
Yeah, with Michigan.
Let me check. Yeah, you might be right. He might have redone it.
Hey, all I gotta say is Vikings, you guys are screwed if Harbaugh comes to the Bears. That's all I gotta say. Against Justin Fields and John Harbaugh. Speaking of, so John Harbaugh is very close with the owners of the Bears, I believe. And he came out and basically said, I'd love to be with the Bears. And those rumors are going on. He could get hired with the Bears in the next couple weeks. If that doesn't happen, he'll stay with Michigan or come back into the NFL. I don't know. Well, all I got to say is Vikings, you better fuck
Jim Harbaugh.
Because you're going to have to go against Justin Fields and
Jim Harbaugh.
John.
Jim is Michigan.
Yeah, Jim. Sorry, was I saying John?
Jim Harbaugh contract. Okay.
That is a scary sight for the Vikings in the AFC North.
Prior to the start of the 2021 season, Harbaugh signed a 5-year contract extension to keep him in Ann Arbor through 2025.
Okay, 5-year. It was a pretty crazy deal, though. Wasn't it at least $10 million a year?
This here says he's making around over $5 million a year.
Really?
It's 7.4. 7.4.
That's crazy for a coach, though.
Yeah, $7.4 million a year. I mean, it's a great deal.
Oh my. Anyways, those rumors are out. John Harbaugh. Wait, I'm so sorry. Jim Harbaugh replacing Matt Nagy. Hey, I just defended Nagy, but he's a much better coach than Nagy. And that would. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, so I was thinking Michigan went against Ohio State. So he went against Justin Fields, and there must be something there where he wants to work with Fields, and that'd kind of be a scary duo.
That would be that'd be awesome, honestly, to see him come
and
back.
Ryan Pace is fired. Maybe they can draft a little bit better.
I mean, you wouldn't say Harbaugh failed, right?
At Michigan?
No, you wouldn't.
Are you kidding me? I'm the biggest Harbaugh defender.
I know you are. I know. I think those guys wanted. Because everybody's obviously happy with their playoff appearance because you want to be there every year, even if you're not winning. All right,
you're not going to beat Georgia this year.
Yeah, and it's and that's partially out of his hands. That's just the clientele you're able to get on your team, personnel, so it's like,
right.
But I think Michigan faithful is happy to see them there and they're around and they're in the conversation. They're one win away from going to those games.
Before we move off of head coaches, there were two good firings. Vic Fangio and Mike Zimmer are the same goddamn coach. They're both stuck in the 80s when they're good defensive coordinators, and that's how they run their team. The NFL is not built like that. You need an Andy Reid. You need a Sean McVay. You need a Belichick. You need someone progressing with the times, and they stay back in the times. Vikings, I'm so fired up. Mike Zimmer, I'm not going to shit on you because thank you for the last 8 years. We had some good playoff runs.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can be happy to move on.
Yes.
But you'd be happy to move on, but you were not a poverty franchise under him.
Yep. I appreciate what he did. I love what he did. Rick Spielman is gone, our GM. So Vikings made some moves there.
I don't like that.
Rick Spielman wasn't a great drafter.
You see, okay, was Dalvin Cook drafted?
Okay, look at Mike Hughes. Do you know
Justin Jefferson drafted? My point being is these guys are going to miss. These guys have to draft 11, 10, 9 guys a year, make million deals a year.
No, I'm not even like, I think he should be moved.
I mean, the talent on that team is unreal. I don't think, just look at it from a pure talent-based perspective. He's done a great job.
No. I was literally just about to defend him because he's drafted shitty cornerbacks. Like Jeff Gladney and Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes is on the Chiefs after 2 years. Cam Dantzler is a cornerback who's not built for the NFL. Jeff Gladney
sounded like Cam Chancellor and got him excited.
Jeff Gladney beat his girlfriend. He's in jail. He was our first round pick last year. Dude, like his misses on the cornerback position. Hey, he drafted Justin Jefferson. He's a
great offensive drafter.
But
Dalvin Cook.
We don't need any more offense. We need a guy who can draft defense. I wish
100%.
Rick Spielman I wish he wasn't fired. I wish he'd move into a different position where he could still be a part of our drafting.
Imagine how scary the Vikings would be with a Patriots, Bills, Saints defense. Well,
they'd choke in the Super Bowl like they do, but yeah.
It would be honestly unreal because that team could score points at will.
Justin Jefferson, I mean, KJ Osborne's a great 3.
You have a top 5 running back and a top 5 wide receiver.
Hey, maybe even a top 20, like Alexander Madison as the backup is pretty good.
Yeah, he's not a bad backup piece.
So those were the two firings, which I understood. Vic Fangio, he did all right in Denver.
You see the shit that he said?
He was limited at quarterback, though.
Did you see what he said, though?
No.
In the press conference, this is why I'm happy he got fired. They go, what's separating you guys from the other 3 teams in the AFC West? And he goes, well, those 3 teams all have top shelf quarterbacks. And it's like, listen, like we understand, like nobody doesn't know that. Everybody knows that. You don't say, as a coach, you don't say that. And he got fired the next day. He didn't even coach yesterday. So I'm pretty sure he
coached Saturday and then they fired him yesterday.
Yes, actually, you're right.
But yeah,
they fired him right after saying that shit.
That's a yikes right there. They're planning on it.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't get that. Those were 2 firings where Vikings go out. Dude, Vikings, if you get Brian Flores, I'm coming on the podcast right when it breaks that we get Brian Flores, and I will literally be running laps around my room.
Well, he's, because he's a defensive guy.
I don't care. Brian Flores.
No, I'm saying that would be awesome for you guys. The last time we won the Super Bowl in 2019 when our defense was just murdering people. That was when we didn't have the best wide receivers wherever. 2019 Brady's last run. He was the defensive coordinator. They didn't put him under contract as one because they didn't have to pay him as one. But he was calling defensive plays. Brian Flores was. And then he got that job right after in Miami. So he would be perfect for the Vikings.
Speaking in 2009, like I was watching that documentary. The fact that they had Julian Edelman out of his prime, Rob Gronkowski, who was somewhat declining, and they won the Super. Like I can't name.
They didn't do the 2019 Super Bowl yet, did they?
No, but I was thinking about that team.
Unreal.
Like that team was Tom Brady. Just, anyways.
And Edelman went for like 150 in the Super Bowl.
All right, we gotta move on to the craziest end to the NFL. Hey, talk about parody in the NFL and talk about ratings in the NFL and compare that shit to college football, look at last night's game. Wow.
Dude, do you want to hear something embarrassing?
I put 250 on the Raiders.
You want to hear something embarrassing?
You put a lot on the Chargers.
I fell asleep.
Yeah, that's a disappointment right there. Do you even know what happened?
Of course I know what happened.
Yeah, you have Instagram. Anyways.
That sounds like the craziest. It sounds like the craziest game. It looked like the craziest game that ever. Like just the implications and because like, a 35-32 overtime thriller is cool in week 4. But last week of the season when like the tie thing where they could both go to the playoffs or if one of them wins, I have a Steelers fan buddy who was ecstatic when the Steelers won and the Colts lost. And then we're waiting for this game to end. He's losing his mind. That has to be some of the craziest shit I've ever seen in my life for a game. And I was sleeping during it. But
so I was playing poker with some friends, and one of my friends is the biggest Chargers fan I know. One of my best friends, Sam Ashley. He's like, the Chargers are going to win Sunday. I'm like, all right, let's bet $100. I'll take the Raiders. He's like, all right, deal. Put 100 there. Shitting myself at the end of the game. Not only that, I put 150 more on my sports book. So I had 250 on the Raiders. And if they tied or lost that game, well, if they tied, I would push, but I wanted that money. Sam, I'm sorry that your head coach, Brandon Staley, fucking sold your year for you. I am so happy that you have Justin Herbert, though. Justin Herbert was 6 of 6 on 4th downs in the 4th quarter and overtime with a touchdown. With time expiring. They got a dude at quarterback. And Brandon Staley, on your own, I mean, you've heard it in the media already, your own 18-yard line. I know you don't like to punt, but if it's in the late 3rd quarter and you're on your own 18-yard line, you're just basically handing Max Murphy money. Why are you got a 6'6" quarterback. Why are you rolling him out? Or why aren't you QB sneaking it? Why are you
the timeout
down the gut with Austin Eckler? Punt the ball, Brandon Staley.
And the timeout. The timeout that's the most absurd shit I've ever seen in my life. It's not even like there was time for you guys. Even if they did get a stop, it's not like there was time for it to whatever. And then the Raiders admitting that they were pretty much happy with the tie until then. They still handed it up the gut and got it. Like,
we got a group chat with our friends on floor 10. Mm-hmm. And last Sunday, or was it last Monday, I sent the scenario of if the Jags beat the Colts, which I knew they would. I took the Jags in that game. They haven't lost to the Colts in 5 years at home. I put
you bet the Jags that game?
Yeah. Because, dude, they're not going to lose at home to the Colts. Colts can't be. It's like the Patriots at the Dolphins.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. But when I sent that scenario, if the Jags beat the Colts and these two teams tie and they go into the playoffs, you literally can write a documentary about this whole scenario. That just happened.
Unreal.
That was the craziest. Justin Herbert had me on the edge. I mean, I thought the Raiders sealed it. The Raiders looked like the Vikings when they were going to choke that game away.
I mean, how does Staley come back from this? Because
speaking of NFL head coach firings, Brandon Staley is the one guy you should fire.
And listen, you had a good year with a really good second-year quarterback, and the team looked, and it doesn't compute in your brain after all year. You're like, wait, the Chargers aren't a playoff team? Like, the Chargers missed the playoffs this year? It feels all weird. That talent. Yeah, it feels weird, but I think they're obviously going to be teams to be reckoned with next year, and I think you got to be careful because Eckler and Keenan Allen, I mean, these guys age. They should be fine. Running backs go faster than wide receivers, but, you got to – next year, I think, is their big window. And you got to start replacing these guys. And they have Mike Williams is going to come on, and he's really, really good. But Herbert, I think, is playing plenty good enough to make playoff runs and beat anyone any Sunday.
Hey, Chris Collinsworth, and mainly Chris Collinsworth, was pretty big on Herbert last night. That was pretty obvious, like he is on Rodgers every time they fucking play the Vikings on Sunday Night Football. I have to listen with it on mute. Because Chris Collinsworth. Yeah,
people don't like Chris Collinsworth. I do. Maybe it's just because
I like Chris. But dude, you should have heard him last night about Herbert.
He's brought me a lot of happiness.
It was all for good reason because Herbert carried that bad coaching. And I'm
He threw the
so
ball
sorry,
60
Chargers
times.
fans. What's that?
You know, he threw the ball 60 times.
Herbert?
Yeah.
I believe it.
His stat line was insane when I looked at it this morning.
Oh my gosh. So if we're talking about head coach firings, hey, stats don't always win. Sometimes you have to go with the manalytics, not the analytics. That is what an end to the NFL regular season. I mean,
Dude, it felt like a blink.
Down goes Frazier.
It felt like so should we move into Miami?
Yeah, talk about the Patriots. I'm sorry. I kind of carried that I didn't carry the first segment. I talked a lot that first segment because that's what had me heated about the whole week and this whole head coaching shit. Go on about Patriots.
Listen, what I will say about the Pats is rookie playoff berth, 10-win season. Kid throws, I think, 3,700 yards and almost 25 touchdowns to 13 picks, 12 picks, whatever it might have been. Good numbers out of him, and team wins 10 games. Here's where it's annoying, because as much as you have to be grateful for what you get and understand the fact that we have a rookie quarterback, blah, blah, blah. It also hurts because it's sure, it's easy to say, okay, maybe we should lose. We do have a rookie, stupid things happen, but we don't need to lose some of these games. We didn't need to lose the Colts game, for example, to a non-Patriots fan, you might have looked like, oh, wow, that game ended up being 37-27. We got it close at the end, down 20-17 at one point. Here's the problem. We cannot give up points that aren't defensive points. Mac Jones cannot throw a pick six. We can't have a blocked punt touchdown. When this team plays, doesn't turn the ball over, and if they do, we turn it over on maybe even their side of the field without letting up points in return. But we can't give up points on offense, and we need to get field goals at least every time. That's when we went on that big winning streak. We weren't turning the ball over. We weren't giving up points on offense. We weren't throwing pick sixes. We weren't having blocked punts. Our team is built to the point where if we have a lead, I don't care if it's the Chiefs. If we are up by 10 points in the first quarter, we will milk the shit out of it. Damon Harris will run for 4 yards a pop. Ramondre Stevenson will do a little play action, dink and dunks, keep kicking field goals, keeping the game a little bit out of hand. That's what we need to do. We don't have a team with the offensive talent, right? Even the Vikings, the Chiefs, the Bills, where it's all right, we're in a hole, let's go climb out of it. And we've came close a couple of times, right? We've made it interesting. Versus the Colts, we fought back a little bit. Versus the Bills, we fought back a little bit. Same thing. We need our defense to do well as well. We've been in several situations this year where our defense has been praised and it deserves it. But there's also been times where I could say week 4 versus the Saints, where we cut the lead down and we needed a defensive stop. They go right down the field, score a touchdown. Versus the Bills last week, they go right down the field, score a touchdown. Or not 2 weeks ago, go right down the field, score a touchdown. And just yesterday, and versus the Colts, same thing, right? When Jonathan Taylor ripped off that huge touchdown run to end the game. We've been in these situations where all right, defense, get a stop. But the reason it's hard to blame them is because our offense does put ourselves in such a hole that it's but there's been situations. So if we can get our defense to get these stops and we don't make silly mistakes, I do believe we can beat anyone. But that's kind of where the talent threshold comes in. That's where we don't have a big number one wide receiver, even though Jacoby Myers has really came on. He had 80-something catches here. We do have a really good running back in Damian Harris, and Ramondre Stevenson coming on. And I think Mac's good, but we're the sort of team that doesn't win. You know how they say super veteran good teams win the shitty games?
Yeah.
Those teams, since we're not a veteran team right now, those games are going to go to the Josh Allens, the Patrick Mahomes, even the Carson Wentz and Jonathan Taylors, right? We need to play well. We're not going to win the shitty, ugly games right now with this, rookie and young team. So that's from out the Pats. But I am happy with the season, I have to say. I would be too. Earlier, I would take the season. You were talking about you can only let defensive touchdowns. And isn't the one thing that Belichick has always stressed on the Patriots is turnovers? And 100%. You have to just control the game. And this is what the team has
struggled to do the last couple games, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, people are going to say, it's quick to say, well, the Patriots hadn't beat anyone, all year. We have, right? We have beaten the Titans. We have beaten the Chargers. We have beaten, who else did we beat during the week?
I mean, you're very like the Cowboys and the Bucks. You like
the Cowboys and the Bucks, like horrible. We had the ball up 3 with 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
And Josh McDaniels is calling like weird slants, and then the pick sixes happen. And then we go down, right? Mac Jones gets the ball back, hits Kendrick Bourne on a 75-yard bomb, burns Trayvon Diggs. And then our defense comes on. All we needed to stop was a field goal. They had the ball on their own, I want to say 30-yard line, and it was a 3rd and 18, converted, end up kicking a field goal, coin toss, beating us in OT.
Hey, Teddy.
So
what's this thing yesterday that I heard about, like Bill Belichick throwing the game?
What are you talking about?
Did you
yesterday?
Yeah.
See, that's the sort of, that's a lot of outside. I
don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the game. I was watching the Jags crap on the Colts, which we'll talk about.
What was the like reasoning behind?
It was on Bleacher. I didn't read into it. I was wondering if you knew, because it was a Bleacher Report notification. It's like, did Belichick just throw this game away? But I don't know why he would have thrown the game away. Why would he want to go to the Bills instead of Cincy?
Oh yeah, no, I wish we were fucking playing Cincinnati. That's why I wanted the Chargers to win so bad, because like I would love to. And Cincinnati's, all respect to them. They're pretty much, in my eyes, they're almost like a year ahead of the Patriots, because we are honestly better than they were last year. I guess Joe Burrow got hurt, so it's hard to gauge.
Right.
But kind of similar in the process, and they're a year ahead of us. That offense is kind of fucking insane. Jamar Chase might literally be the best wide receiver in the league as a rookie, and if not, it's up for debate. But I would have much rather have gone to Cincy than Buffalo. It's going to be a very interesting game. Patriots cannot go down in these fucking holes, dude. Like, we cannot just start going down 14-0, 17-0, because as you can see, then we almost dominate the rest of the game, right?
You're playing catch up the whole time.
Yeah, like we go down 17-0 versus the Dolphins, and then we outscore them 24-7 or whatever it might have been, or 24-10. And it's like, doesn't matter. We're still going to lose. And we can't go in these holes. We're not going to take the top off the defense and score 14 points in 35 seconds like some of these teams do. So it's like, we have to play well. And when we execute well, and you can say this you can give me your opinion on this as a third party fan, because, you're kind of on the outside looking in. So it's a different perspective for you. But I think if the Patriots do play good defense, run the ball effectively, and don't commit turnovers, any given Sunday they can win. I've said this before, not that they should beat all these teams, but it's not like we don't have a chance. If we do that, I think we have a chance versus really anyone.
As a non-Patriots fan, as long as you guys have Belichick, as long as he doesn't get COVID, I think you guys can beat any team.
Yeah.
You guys already beat the Bills at the Bills. I mean, you have to take in the conditions, and you have to take into account like how the Bills were playing in those couple weeks when you're playing them. But hey, the Bills did not look great against the Jets yesterday. They have these fluke games. They can easily choke this one. I mean, not choke away, because I don't know how big of favorites they'll be, especially because it's their third time playing each other, and
it's going to be an interesting game.
Matchups. But I'm excited to see that game. I really am excited to see Mac Jones go against that defense, because we haven't seen it yet. It's going to be a good game.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited.
Man, the playoffs. We're going to get into the playoff picture later, but yeah, as an outside, gosh, I think the Patriots are the one team that can be the X factor, that can play the.
It's a dark horse. It's a wild card sort of,
Dark horse, right? Anything else?
No.
If not, we can come back to it. Next thing, we got Vikings games here. Got nothing to comment about the Vikings game other than Justin Jefferson was like 13 yards short of Randy Moss's record. He'll catch it, though. I think he'll beat it. Maybe next year, maybe a year after, whatever. Other than that, I did hear that the Vikings had the 12th pick locked up. So I was mad that they won until I saw that losing that game wouldn't have helped their draft pick, so I don't care. It's a good way to end Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman's tenure that they had with the Vikings. And so I'm happy that they went out with a win. Mike Zimmer, best of luck. You'll have a coaching job, maybe not head coaching job, but a coaching job somewhere. So same with Rick Spielman. You guys will be good. Vikings fans, bright future ahead if we get one of these coaches like Brian Flores, especially with the young talent that they have. Just need to get a cornerback. We are like a couple cornerbacks, and Everson Griffin and Daniil Hunter being healthy, close or away from making a playoff run.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a young quarterback after Kirk Cousins is done next year.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins can, I don't know, he can get some of these big games done. He's good enough where if he has Delvin Cook and Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Irv Smith, he can win a playoff game. He already has. He beat the Saints when no one thought they would. But that's all I got to say about the Vikings. They were so close. They were they were in so many close games this year. And I think last episode I talked about the key plays in all those games, which they could have won. And it could have been a playoff year. Kirk Cousins getting COVID really hurt. I mean, it really hurt.
Yeah.
But speaking of COVID, I'm sorry. I see here we have the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I got to talk about the Colts because, first of all, I knew the Jags would win that game. I mean, it was pretty obvious. The last 7 games at the Jags, they've beat the Colts. Another thing is you look at Carson Wentz last week versus the Raiders, and when he got COVID, you knew, even though he played versus the Raiders, him getting COVID that week really took a toll on him, and he looked awful against the Raiders, and he looked even worse against the Jags. So a perfect QBR in a game is 100, right? Quarterback, is it rating or?
I think it might be like 150.
No, that's quarterback. That's quarterback rating. I'm talking about QB. There's a stat where a perfect game is like 100.
Yeah.
An average game in the NFL is 50. Carson Wentz had a 4.4 versus the Jags. Hey, him getting COVID. I mean, okay, first of all, you can't talk about this year without talking about like some of the key games that teams lost because of COVID. And I'm not saying he got really affected by COVID. I'm saying him not being able to prepare and game plan and practice all week versus the Raiders costed them the game, clearly, because they lost to the Raiders when they're the way better team and they were rolling. They had beaten the Cardinals, they had beaten the Pats, they had beaten the Bills. They were rolling. Them losing momentum because of COVID, the offensive line getting COVID. I mean, I'm not to say like, hey, he played bad because he got COVID. I'm saying it affected him not being able to practice that whole week versus the Raiders and him carrying on that loss into the Jaguars, which, I mean, if you can't beat the number 1 pick, you can't beat a 2-14 team, you don't deserve to be in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
If it's a winning game, I mean, Trevor Lawrence outplayed you. I'm not going to blame it all on the Colts or all on Carson Wentz because I'm a Carson Wentz guy. But the Jags simply, Jonathan Taylor, they couldn't get the run game going. Their defense looked atrocious versus the Jags. I can't talk about this year without bringing up COVID and them losing the Raiders, which they could clinch the playoff spot if they would be in the Raiders last week. You got to bring it up. I mean, all you got to do was win at Jacksonville, but all you had to do was win at Raiders the week before when you had the way better team.
Yeah, same thing for the Pats. We had to beat the Jags and did, and we won 50-10. So
exactly. So that's my thing about this whole year and how much of a mess it was with COVID. I just think it did affect that team. And like my dad told me, there's a thing called a COVID hangover. And that offensive line got pushed around by Jacksonville's D-line, which I can't name a player on.
Yeah.
I'm a big NFL guy. I can't big NFL fan, cannot name a player on that D line. And they just destroyed 3 Pro Bowlers on that O line. Like, you have Eric Fisher, who was the former number 1 pick on the Chiefs. Remember him? You got Ryan Kelly, who was Pro Bowl center, and you got Quinn Nelson, the best offensive lineman in the league.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Taylor
in the last 5 years.
So, I mean, that game was – I watched the full game because mainly I had money on the Jaguars, but also because I don't know. Just it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Pat McAfee, the biggest Colts fan ever. Yeah, I watched his show. He started at 11 a.m. And I watched his show, and he was just kind of losing it, just ripping into the Colts. I mean, because they had such like they beat the Cardinals, the Bills, and the Patriots. Like those 3 teams in itself, you're like,
exactly. I mean, they showed they can beat. That's like, all right, if we get to the playoffs, like who can't we beat? Like we can kind of beat anyone any given day. And they fall to the Jags, and they didn't just fall to them. They just looked like I don't even know. I was about to say they looked like the Jets, but even the Jets beat this team. So I don't know. I don't know how that really happens. It's just it's one of those matchup things, obviously similar to like Pats in Miami. Like just teams never line up. The Colts never have really played that team well, especially in Jacksonville, which is so weird.
It's so weird. So sorry, Colts, you're out of the playoffs.
You know who's in?
The Raiders.
And?
The Chiefs.
And?
Well, the Patriots and the Cowboys.
Steelers.
Dude, it's a good way for Big Ben to go out, but I don't even want to watch that game versus the
No, because it's going to – who are they playing?
The Chiefs.
Listen, the Steelers had – if you're not named Tom Brady – you up to this point have a 0% chance of beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Mahomes rookie year lost to Brady AFC, not rookie year, first year starting, lost to Brady. I want to say AFC championship game.
Yep, it was.
Second year, won it all, beat everyone, beat Garoppolo. Third year starting, lost to Brady in the Super Bowl. So he's been to the playoffs 3 times, won the Super Bowl.
He's not the only quarterback to lose to Brady. Let's just say.
So, listen, I think it would have been just imagine the game if that was the Chargers in there, man.
First the Chiefs?
Yeah.
I'd rather watch that than Big Ben.
No shit, dude. That would be awesome. That would be so much fun.
I think it's cool that – well, I don't think it's cool because I don't think it makes sense.
I mean, we gave Big Ben his farewell. Like, what? At this point, he's not getting another home game. I don't even know, like, how badly does he – I mean, I know Steelers fans – personally, at least the one Steelers fan I know is obviously ecstatic to get him. Like, is Big Ben like really excited to go into Kansas City? Like,
no.
I guess as a football player, there's a serious problem if you don't want that chance. But like when you're at that point in your career, it's a really unique situation where you've already pretty much admitted you're retiring, and now he's got to go and just get absolutely hammered. You know, what a fun last game that's going to be. So
speaking of the Chiefs, we saw Tyreek Hill exit early in that game versus Broncos. Something was up. I think he'll be fine. I think it was a minor injury.
Dude, he hasn't done, as somebody who has him out of my fantasy team, he hasn't done anything really.
He's been so inconsistent.
I think the NFL figured him out a little bit. I really do. I don't think he's getting worse. I think the NFL figured out you bracket him, you play somebody underneath, and you play somebody way over the top who doesn't even have a shot to get blown by because they're in such good position. And you see if he can beat you in the middle somewhere. And
hey, Teddy, watch you say that, and then Tyreek gets like 200 yards.
And if he does, it's because the coverage that people have been doing, you know, maybe they'll fall out of it, whatever. People are bracketing him, which I think you know what it means, but it's like somebody underneath him and somebody over the top of him.
Yeah.
Pretty much doubling him. No, it's like worst case scenario, no matter what, he doesn't run by us.
I'll disagree a tiny bit just because, well, he struggled a little bit with injuries this year, but also because he's the fastest man alive. And
no, I know. But these DBs, and they're not as fast as him, are still fast as shit. And what the coaches are doing is they're giving them like a 15-yard head start on Tyreek Hill and putting somebody here, like underneath him, putting somebody here so that he runs by the first guy. The first guy's kind of playing it. And this guy is just no matter what, he's not getting by him. So that's what they've been doing. And they're bracketing him. And the NFL kind of knows, like, but a huge part of that is not letting Mahomes have too much time, because if he does have time, Mahomes, runs in circles. That's when Tyreek Hill all of a sudden then he'll run just across the field at 100 miles per hour.
And if they are figuring out him, the thing that's so hard to beat the Chiefs, and
then Kelsey, that's where
Marcus Robinson,
killing people.
They just open up when Tyreek gets shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why that's why I think they're going to go to the Super Bowl. But it's going to be, I'm so excited for these playoffs. But yeah, something is with, I don't know, Tyreek could figure out in the playoffs, but he's just kind of had like a little bit of a down year. Maybe you're right. Maybe they kind of figured him out, but that's why they haven't been losing a lot of games this year, because it opens up room for other players.
And Titans, I guess not a whole lot to say here. Derrick Henry helped put this team in a really good position. He's coming back. They could beat anyone with a healthy Derrick Henry. We'll see. Who do they have first? They have the bye, obviously.
What I'm interested in? The Cowboys, took it to the Jalen Hurts-less Eagles, which didn't mean much. But the Cowboys and Niners, it's going to be a good game. Yeah,
that is actually going to be a really good game. I think Deebo Samuel might legitimately just be the pure best single player in the NFL. Just he is ridiculous. He's just everything. He looks like he's out there in high school playing against high school kids.
As much as you and I have a problem against Trevon Diggs, that matchup versus Deebo is going to be interesting.
I don't know, because I think he'll burn. I really do. And I try not to hate on Trevon Diggs, and he's a great ball hogger. And I think in zone coverage.
Oh, he guesses so much, though.
In zone coverage, he's good. But this year, I do think he just eclipsed letting up 1,000 yards this season, which was the most in the NFL. So I think in a zone scheme, he's one of the best ball hawks in the league. But that's why I don't think it's fair to compare him to J.C. Jackson, because J.C. Jackson follows around the best wide receiver and still gets his picks and still locks them down. So Trevon Diggs is a good ball hawking zone scheme sort of guy. When you line him up, let's say you lined him up with his brother or something, and the quarterback was not missing, he'd toast him. So, all respect Trevon Diggs, but I do think that I don't think the Cowboys are going to put him one-on-one.
I think first of all, I think the Cowboys will win. I think the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. That's besides the point.
But that defense, I wasn't a believer in them. I wasn't a believer in the Cowboys until the defense started playing well, which we have talked about.
Well, they just got so healthy.
Yeah, the defense is good. If the defense is playing well, good defense wins super. Literally, it's corny. Defense literally wins championships.
Give me anyone over Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau. That's all I got to say. He's been in the last 3 NFC championships. He can't get done. He won't be around in February. The Cowboys.
I was going to say my Super Bowl prediction is, and I guess I'll save it. We'll get to this. You want to do this now?
No. First, I have to talk. Wait, are we going into that right now?
What do you want to talk about?
Bracket?
What do you want to talk about?
I was just going to say, God, everyone is so high on the Packers, and it's because I'm a Vikings fan that I'm not high on them. But I've also seen it the last however many years with Aaron Rodgers. He won't get done in the playoffs. That's all I know. He won't get done in the playoffs. No matter if he's at Lambeau or on the road.
I've never been the biggest believer in, I think the guy's ultra super talented.
Best quarterback in I love Mahomes, but best quarterback in the league.
I'm still taking Brady. But anyway.
Brady, yeah. Jeez.
He led the league in touchdowns and yards, I think. But anyway, Rodgers is Rodgers. The guy's freaking unreal.
Except in the
playoffs. And I like them this year more than I like them other years. And I do think that's due to the fact that in the NFC, I believe in teams less. I believe if the Bucs were fully healthy, if Antonio Brown didn't go nuts, and
speaking of Antonio Brown though, sneaking the only oh my God.
But if AB didn't go nuts, if Chris Godwin, AB and Chris Godwin, boom, right there. That's so much. I don't know what the deal with Leonard Fournette is right now, but these guys need to stay healthy. With those two guys, if those two guys stayed healthy, I think I would be taking the Bucs to go back to the Super Bowl and play the Chiefs for a rematch.
Eddie, what is the hotel security and the Bucs security doing? Antonio Brown let in an OnlyFans model. This is a show where we're not too filtered because we swear and because we don't have 18 million subscribers. But Antonio Brown, and then it got released that Antonio Brown and this OnlyFans model weren't doing very appropriate things in the hotel room. And then the next day, the OnlyFans model goes on her Instagram story, takes a picture over a positive COVID test and goes at Buccaneers, test your team. Like, what? And then Antonio Brown, we haven't even done this because we haven't done a podcast in a couple weeks. Antonio Brown's outrage on the field is the most Antonio Brown shit I've ever seen.
I never wish I was at a Jets game more. And if I was in Jersey, there's a good shot I would have went, because if I would have got to watch Brady play in person, 20 minutes away from my house, I probably would have went. And, we always sit visitor sideline because it's cheaper and stuff. So there's a good shot I would have been right there. So I'm kind of annoyed I wasn't. But either way, I mean, I think that was one of the most comical situations. Then he goes out of all podcasts. He goes on the Nelk podcast to talk about it.
They said, pump up the crowd. I'm out. See you later. Peace. Get me off this team.
He said, I got too sexy for MetLife Stadium. He was also dogging on Tom Brady, saying he's not my real friend, blah, blah, blah. Like,
whatever. Get out here.
Dude, Tom Brady's the only reason you still have a freaking job.
The only reason I never think that outrage is like you humiliated himself. The only reason I thought, and then he comes out with this ankle injury shit. I don't believe that. The only reason was like,
well, if there is truth in that, I understand, but it's just weird.
There's not.
NFL, you think they're forcing star players versus the Jets to play and hurt themselves right before the playoffs? It doesn't make sense.
The only reason I would defend him, I would never defend what he did, but the only somewhat reason would be because they sit him to not pay him his incentives, which was a rumor. But I think that those rumors were false.
Yeah, because the weird thing is it turned out to be the opposite. Like, they wanted him to play and he wouldn't.
I was like, how could he be doing this? And then I thought of that, or I heard that. I was like, maybe. And I was like, no, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, so it was the opposite. He clearly, and that's the thing where maybe there is legitimacy to his ankle injury, where obviously the guy has an opportunity to go out there and make an extra $1 million. And if he's refusing to go in the game, he probably is pretty freaking hurt. So it's just weird, though, that Brady, Arians, medical staff, trainers, it's hard to picture them forcing somebody in the game. I don't care if you suck. Maybe if you're a undrafted free agent rookie who's on punt and you have a fucked up ankle and you're like, oh, I can't go in. Right. Then maybe I could see coaches be like, dude, you're going in this game. This is your opportunity. And I don't think a guy in that situation would even ever try to, think about it. You're just getting in the game barely, your first game on the roster. I'm sure those guys play through that stuff all the time. AB being hurt, I find it very hard to believe that they would force him into the game. He looked pretty healthy, though, that game. So, and the week before. So I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of the Bucs, you're still high on them. We're going to now move into a little thing we like to call the NFL playoff prediction. Let's get rolling.
Let's do it.
Let me share the screen. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. All right, first seed, Titans, AFC. First seed, NFC, the Packers. Don't like that. Anyways, do you want to go first or do you want me to?
I'll go.
Okay.
So
you do your AFC, I'll do my AFC. You do your NFC, I'll do my AFC.
So the weird thing is here, so seeding wise, Titans will get lowest remaining seed, right, of these games, correct? Yeah. Along with the Packers. That's how it works, I believe, for the number one seed.
Aren't the Chiefs the 2 seed?
I believe the Chiefs are the 2.
Wait, why? I think this is messed up. Hold up.
No, I think that is it.
Let's go here.
See what that one says.
Oh, that was last year. What's going on here?
Go back. I do think the first one is correct.
Okay. Yeah, but so the Chiefs, the 2 seed wouldn't play the 1 seed right after their game. Right here.
No, I don't think that's what it's saying. But we just need to, so look up the playoff picture again on a separate tab and then just get the actual seeding. This is correct. That one right to the left is correct as well.
Right here?
I want the numbers next to it. So that's the easiest way to do it. But
Well,
that's old. Yeah, those are old ones.
that's old. What the?
So wait, go back up to the first one.
Okay. Oh wait, actually, I think this one shows like the one that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So then, if you want to pull up on a separate tab the actual bracket,
Okay.
and then we'll be ready to go. Okay. So we have, Titans are 1, Chiefs are 2, Bills are 3, Bengals 4, Raiders 5, Pats 6, 7 Steelers. Okay. So I'll start with the AFC first. If you want to go back to the bracket.
All right.
So we have I'll start down low, Bengals, Raiders. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Raiders only because it's kind of like a been there, done that thing. And I don't know Derek Carr's playoff, how much playoff extent they have. But I mean, Derek Carr is really coming on. He's a vet at this point of his career. He's playing well. I mean, the guy's a stud. I think people have to start recognizing that. I'm going to take the Raiders just because I have a little bit of confidence in them to pull this one out versus a less experienced team. But that's a really, really, really close game.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and I'm going to choose the Raiders. Second game, Pats, Bills. I'm never picking against my boys. I like Belichick everywhere. I'm not offended if you do pick against them. I understand that the Bills have a lot of talent here. But I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Pats. And then I'm gonna go with the Chiefs. So then the matchups would then be the divisional round would then be Tennessee, Raiders, because the Raiders would be the lowest seed remaining, and they play the highest seed remaining. And then that would lead Pats and Chiefs to play.
Wait, no. No, because the Patriots are the number 6 and the Raiders are the 5. So if you guys beat the Bills,
I didn't even realize that.
We'd play the Patriots or the Titans.
I didn't realize we were below the Raiders. Okay, so we would be then playing the Titans, which I like a whole lot more than playing the Chiefs, and the Chiefs would be playing the Raiders.
Yes.
So, I mean, we've blew out the Titans. They didn't have A.J. Brown or Derrick Henry or anybody. We blew them out. It's like I want to be I wish they were playing I wish this worked out so they're in the Chiefs now so that I can look like an unbiased fan and just say, sure, give it to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in the Titans that much, but for the sake of
No. You're a Patriots fan.
I am a Patriots fan, but for the sake of being a media professional here and a talk show host, I will say Titans. Would I even be super confident in that pick as a Titans fan? No, but if the Patriots were playing like how we are now, we can't fuck around and beat these guys if we're not going to be playing well. So I'll give it to the Titans reluctantly, and I'm going to have the Chiefs demolishing the Raiders. Then from there, I will have the Chiefs beating the Titans again.
No, over the Raiders, right?
So, I'm going to have the Chiefs beating the Raiders, Titans beating the Pats. I'm going to have the Chiefs beating the Titans to end up in the Super Bowl. So, can we take a look at the seeding really quickly in the NFC, please, sir?
Oh, wait, I'm going to do my AFC.
Okay.
AFC, I got Bengals only because Raiders are coming off an emotional win. They're at home. Joe Burrow in that offense looks really good. I am high on the Raiders this year. I've bet them a lot. They've won me a lot of money. I don't think they can do it one more time. Bengals are rolling. They're fresh. They sat their guys versus the Browns. They're fresh. I do like the Bengals there. Teddy, I hate to be this guy. These teams are going in 2 different directions right now, I feel like. But it's also because I went on the podcast when they played the first time, and I was big on the Bills when no one else was. And so I kind of have to stay with them here. And I think,
like I said, I'm not offended.
no, I know you're not offended, but hey, it's also the Patriots in the playoffs. Like, that's hard to bet against. I'm going to be serious. Like, that run game can eat that defense, the Bills defense, alive like they did the first time they played the Bills. I just think if it also depends on the conditions.
Yeah.
But I just I think they're hanging two different directions. I like the Bills. Patriots, big future ahead. Like them there. Chiefs will win by 30. Don't have to talk about that one much. Then we got we'd have the Bills.
So the Bills would be the
Titans will play
third,
the Bengals.
as the third seed. So the Chiefs would be playing the Bengals and the Bills. No. The Bengals would be playing the Titans and the Chiefs would be playing the Bills.
Yeah, so I will take, Derrick Henry back, AJ Brown back. Julio Jones looked good last week. They have everyone healthy. They're coming off a first-round bye. They're at home. I hate to be the original guy, but Titans over the Bengals. I like that. This is going to be a fireworks show. The Bills in the Josh Allen couple years, especially in the playoffs, they haven't been able to get Andy Reid. And I think the same.
Yeah, I mean, earlier this year, though, they looked really good because they built the team to beat the biggest topic of conversation after the Patriots ran the ball all over them in that game. They're like, they built this team to beat the Chiefs, so they don't run, whatever. So, and they did earlier this year. They did get him, but I don't see it happening either. If that's what you gotta say.
And it sucks because I like the Bills team this year, but I just don't think they can take out Mahomes and Andy Reid, especially because the Chiefs will be at home. Playing at Arrowhead is so hard, so much harder than people think. Like, that's one of the loudest stadiums. Those fans are crazy. I like the Chiefs over the Bills. We got the same Super Bowl pick, but we've also been big on the Chiefs early in the podcast when they were bad. So I like the Chiefs over the Titans. Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Let's go NFC. You got NFC.
All right. So
here, I'll go back to you.
All right. So I'm going to have the Buccaneers beating the Eagles. I'm going to have the Cowboys beating San Francisco, and I'm going to have LA beating the Cardinals.
Okay.
So then that would leave Buccaneers, Cowboys, and Rams left. Packers. So can you go back to the seeds real quick?
So Packers will have the Rams.
And Buccaneers, Cowboys. And then from there, I'm going to take Cowboys, Rams.
I'll go back.
So that would be, so what was it again? Packers, Rams, and then Bucks, Cowboys. I'm going to take Packers. And I am going to take the Cowboys. I feel like an idiot, dude. I just like I remember growing up watching these guys like pick against Brady and just being like,
yeah,
and just thinking how stupid they are. And this year, like, as it kind of just feels like that offense has become a little bit undermanned at this point with those two guys going out. What's Leonard Fournette's deal? Do we know?
I don't. I mean, he sat last week, whether he's injured.
Now, listen, a healthy Fournette changes things a little bit. I like, fuck it. What do I do here? I'm going Buccaneers. I can't do it. I'm going Buccaneers over. Of course, I'm going Brady over Prescott. The only reason I would say this is because that defense scares me if Brady doesn't have all of his guys. And then Rams. Then I have the Packers beating the Rams. I have a rematch then with Buccaneers Packers in the NFC Chip. It feels like this is a A-Rod year. However, picking against Brady.
Super Bowl rematch?
Picking against Brady again feels weird. But you know what? I am going to go Packers, and I'm going to go Packers, Chiefs, and I'm going to go Packers, Chiefs, and I'm going to go I don't know. I'm going to go Packers. No, I'm going to go Chiefs. So I'm going to go Chiefs,
All right.
Packers, Super Bowl, and Chiefs.
Chiefs it is. Okay. NFC here, I got Bucks over the Eagles, no question. Cowboys over the Niners. However, I think the Niners could play. I think them and the Patriots are the teams on each side that could play the dark horse here.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like 49ers, they're just they're a good team. And same with the Patriots, just physical, like dark horse, X factor, that kind of thing. So yeah, I like the Bucks being the Eagles, the Cowboys being the Niners, just because I'm the biggest Dak Prescott fan there is. And then I'm not even a Cowboys fan. Here's where I struggle. It's the exact same scenario. And what I think for the Bills and Patriots, it's because I've been so high on the Rams this year and so low on the Cardinals. But they're going in considering last week, I think they're going in two different directions. Matt Stafford has had a good year. He does not look good. They barely beat. No, they blew a lead to the 49ers. They lost in overtime versus them. I watched them play, even though they're star-studded. I watched them play versus the Vikings, and he threw 3 picks. They just didn't look that good. Cardinals, I was crapping on them early in the year, and I've been so high on the Rams. I'm taking the Cardinals here. Getting D-Hop and getting J.J. Watt back, I think they'll look like them.
Is D-Hop playing?
Yes.
Do we know that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And J.J. Watt are playing.
Yeah, that could change things, but I'm going to stick with mine.
Especially – oh, wait, no, it's at the Rams. But Rams – oh, boy. Anyways, I have to stick with my gut.
Yeah, stick with your gut.
Yep, I'm going Cardinals here. Okay, then it is the Packers, Cardinals, and Packers, Cardinals, Bucks, Cowboys. Rematch between the Packers, Cardinals. However, Packers at home, the way they've been rolling, I got them over the Cardinals. Cardinals will kind of be gassed over the third division game versus the Rams. Give me the Cowboys over the Bucks because I said it earlier. I love the Cowboys this year. Dak Prescott, love him. Like him more at home than I do on the road, which is why it scares me that I got the Cowboys and the Packers at Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers will not get it done. If you think Aaron Rodgers is going to get it done this playoffs, Teddy thinks so, and I don't like that. At least he has them losing in the playoffs. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers. Road stops here. Your career is done. Cowboys defense with Micah Parsons, with Randy Gregory, with DeMarcus Lawrence, with Trevon Diggs, with Jaron Kearse, with Lane Vander Esch are going to come after the Packers in Lambeau. Go on the offensive side with Ezekiel Elliott, with Tony Pollard, with Tyron Smith, with Dak Prescott, with CeeDee Lamb, with Dalton Schultz, with Amari Cooper, with Michael Gallup, with Cedric Wilson. Oh, my God. This team is loaded. Give me the Packers. Give me the Cowboys over the Packers. Super Bowl, Chiefs, Cowboys. Cowboys defense is better. Defense wins championships. Cowboys are your 2021, 2022 Super Bowl champs.
All right.
I like it.
There we have
it. We got a big game tonight. We talked about we've talked all year about how much we like college football, but the parity and the viewership and the just constant upsets, the Jags over the Colts yesterday, the playoffs, everything about the NFL is amazing. However, big game, big rematch between the SEC championship, Bama and Georgia. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait to watch this. I can't bet it just because I can't bet against Saban, but I like Georgia more this year. Georgia won't play as bad as they did versus Bama in the SEC championship. Bama played absolutely flawless. Bryce Young played absolutely flawless in that game. And it was still, it didn't feel like a close game, but it was still somewhat a close game. And that Georgia defense won't play as bad as they did in the SEC championship. I like Georgia tonight.
I like Bama. I like Bama. I don't think I really need to dissect it too much. It's really hard to bet against those guys, and
It is.
I'll pick them until they lose and prove me wrong. So I'm going with Bama.
Okay. Were you going to be watching that game with the boys?
Of course. Are you going to be watching that game, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Disrespectful question.
2 weeks. We go back to Syracuse on the 22nd, 23rd, and we'll be back with 2 episodes every week.
Yep.
Thank you again, viewers, subscribers, Instagram followers, fans of our deeply, deeply passionate podcast. Sorry, I struggled there. I got distracted. I was thinking about the fact that Brian Flores could go to the Vikings. I don't think it'll happen.
Could happen.
But
yeah.
It happened. If I dream about it tonight, it could happen tomorrow.
That's true. Well, we are this was a fun episode. We'll be back. We'll do another one, hit one maybe later. We'll do one after these playoff games, and then we'll get both of them. We'll get back on track with shooting twice a week at school. And I guess that's the episode, Maxwell.
Episode 9, Ben Foster, you're the giveaway winner. NFL playoffs, baby. They're starting.
Oh.
CFP championship tonight. 410 out. Peace.